as always, I wrote it a few weeks ago. I've got a ring of snot from last night faded on my shirt. Above where my left kidney is filtering toxins underneath. Renal work that was probably going on all of last night, as always. And I can't wait to fix my watch at the shop, stop for a week at 6, sit on the toilet, maybe shower, sleep. This one is called For Charles Olson and All His Excruciating Company. Charles Olson is a poet. I sort of got into poetry about my senior year in high school. There's a poet that really influenced my life. Really respected him. And Charles Olson is sort of his elder that he had a correspondence and relationship with, and was extremely influenced by Charles Olson. For Charles Olson and All His Excruciating Company. 1. Keep the mind alive, set the heart to the head, or I will die and there will be silence. Above, this was considered for 2 days, one night, on the second dawn this came. I will live this fight like the sun always rises. No matter what we do, it does. Farewell these thoughts, we can go on without, or else too much constant induces pain for us all. 2. Quote from Charles Olson, the only object is a man carved out of himself. 2 house rules. Take care, 1, to leave a note if you're going to be out, and 2, to live. The house went about its business to the end, alive to the people inside, leaving notes whenever they were gone. 3. I hurt my knees, my ankles are brittle. My dad always has told me I should stop playing physical sports and golf and swim instead. I don't believe him or don't care to listen to him, same thing. And so ankle sprains, broken noses came like the seasons. Until now, though I haven't given up, never will, I took up writing the injuries so I could consider the enjoyment instead of letting the joy all go to my joints like glutton, selfish bastards all those years. 4. Is gracefulness the virtue shrouded under the veil at the apex of all we seek? Anyways then, what is the vice our lives spend lives, scrambling terrified away from, like from death itself? The jaws that await at water when we fall from the sky, it was all for naught? 5. Flesh and blood, pain don't consider in pain. One more is called Sometimes We Forget. And by the way, I think I hate giving explanations before someone reads something, but I'm going to do it anyways, just briefly. That's to do with tonight. But I think this has something to do with what I like about what Dr. Sharon is doing. She's sort of rethinking things about an institution that has been on a track of solidifying their habits and way of thought, and I think fresh ways of thinking like hers in a much more human way is much in need and always beneficial, especially in healthcare. This applies to a lot of things, including where I worked in the past. Sometimes we forget, it's called. Sometimes people forget, say, institutions are institutions, and forget institutions are people. Of course, institutionalization has been institutionalized, and we operate within a world we keep running so that we can operate within that world to keep on running the world. And it's sometimes funny. You have to laugh a little because institutions don't laugh. And it gets a little silent in the office. So that's the poem I want to read. And the last thing I didn't want to read, it's not my work, it's the work of a poet you guys might have heard, I know definitely Monica's heard. Charles Williams, and I imagine Dr. Sharon probably really loved herself. We read one of Charles Williams in the Reading the Body class that Need Sunshine leads also. Oh yeah, he was a pediatrician, okay. And so he's probably mostly known as a poet because I don't think any poetry today in I guess contemporary kind of poetry is not influenced by him. But otherwise he's a doctor. So I guess maybe similar to Dr. Sharon, he had balanced a lot, and I know for a fact, and his biography parts mentioned that he had a major internal conflict during his life. Just going back and forth with these two loves. Sorry, but I'm a little disorganized here, but I'm just going to read one little section from a short story he wrote. He's also, I love short stories, even though they're not as publicized. This is a story between a doctor and a patient, and he is writing, sort of narrating in fictional form the dialogue, I guess, between the patient and doctor, but how you would usually see quotation marks, paragraphs very neatly outlined. Visually, it's pretty streaming through. I don't remember one quotation mark I've seen, and for a reader, you get mixed up who's talking, the doctor or the patient. So that's just a little visual context. So this is, let's start off with the girl. She's a young girl talking. She's starting to talk first. What is book learning, she went on? Nothing at all. College ruins everything that is original in the young. It comes just in their formative years, and if they have anything original in them, by teaching them to copy, we ruin it all. It may be true for some, I broke in, but to me, it is the attitude which is taken towards it that counts. To me, what I intend for my boys, if they wish to go, is that it is a ticket. If they go in there without reverence for the knowledge of their instructors, but take it all just as it means for something which they need, I don't think it will hurt them. Maybe you're right, she agreed, it is the attitude. If they can take it properly, which counts. But I made it up out of books. Finally, it turned me cold. Those men know nothing at all. It is life. What we see and decide for ourselves, that counts. So I think that's just a small section from that story I want to get. And otherwise, this part is where I'm not that organized, I'm sorry, but this is a section that I really love in his autobiography, which I highly recommend, specifically for a chapter that he talks about his practice. It's called Practice, but he talks about his job as a doctor. Okay, one second here. This is the humdrum day in, day out, everyday work that is the real satisfaction of the practice of medicine. The 1.5 million patients a man has seen on his daily visits over a 40-year period of weekdays and Sundays that make up his life. And then I have never had a money practice, which, coincidentally or not coincidentally, sounds like what Dr. Sharon said, which is, you can choose what you want as a doctor. You can choose your hours if you want to take less money and be the doctor you want to be. I've never had a money practice. It would be impossible for me. But the actual calling on people at all times and under all conditions, the coming to grips with the intimate conditions of their lives, when they were being born, when they were dying, watching them die, watching them get well when they were ill, has always absorbed me. I lost myself in the very properties of their minds. For the moment, at least, I actually became them, whoever they should be, so that when I detached myself from them at the end of a half hour of intense concentration over some illness which was affecting them, it was as though I were reawakening from a sleep. For the moment, I myself did not exist. Nothing of myself affected me. As a consequence, I came back to myself as from any other sleep and rested. Time after time, I've gone out to my office in the evening feeling as if I couldn't keep my eyes open for a moment longer. I would start out on my morning calls after only a few hours sleep, sit in front of some house waiting to get the courage to climb the steps and push the front doorbell. But once I saw the patient, all that would disappear. And a flash of details of the case would begin to formulate themselves into recognizable outline. The diagnosis would unravel itself or would refuse to make itself plain, and the hunt was on. Along with that, the patient himself was shaped up into something that called for attention. His peculiarities, his reticences, or tenders. And though I might be attracted or repelled, the professional attitude which every physician must call on would steady me, dictate the terms on which I was to proceed. Many a time a man must watch the patient's mind as it watches him, distrusting him, ready to fly off at a tangent at the first opportunity. Sees himself distrusted, sees the patient turn to someone else, rejecting him. I'm going to skip a paragraph. This is why, as a writer, I have never felt that medicine interfered with me, but rather that it was my very food and drink, the very thing which made it possible for me to write. Was I not interested in man or woman? There the thing was, right in front of me. I could touch it, smell it. It was myself naked, just as it was, without a lie telling itself to me in its own terms. Oh, I knew it wasn't for me, for the most part, giving me anything very profound, but it was giving me terms, basic terms with which I could spell out matters as profound as I cared to think of. So, I think this reading is, I didn't know he was a doctor when I first read him, and within this class, the context of this class, I think it was extremely relevant and helpful, inspiring. But anyways, I guess, does anybody else have anything to read? Alright, well anyways, thanks a lot for coming. I hope you guys have a good time.